Hi, 30 Days. Thank you for joining me for day 10 of 30 Days, 15 Minutes for the Entrepreneur, brought to you by Deeds Be Done. Can't believe we're like a third of the way through all of these sessions. It's been quite enjoyable to bring it to you. I'm Ursula Dunn, and I'm the owner of Deeds Be Done. I will be your host for the next 20 days of 30 days, 15 minutes for the entrepreneur. I truly hope you guys have enjoyed these sessions. I promise that I will only take 15 minutes of your time or less, despite technical difficulties like we experienced this morning, which only leaves me like 10 more minutes. So we're going to hop to it fairly quickly. Topic of the day, inspirational quote, case study, and tips. That's our agenda. We go through that every day. And this is not an interactive session, I'm sorry, because of time restraints, of course. But if you'd like to schedule a 30-minute virtual coffee session with me for free, you can do that by emailing me at info@deedsbedone.com. We've had some really great sessions come out of this. I have 2 more open spots for this week. Today is day 10, and we're doing starting the startup foundational steps. Our quote of the day is, "The secret to getting ahead is getting started," by Mark Twain. A lot of us as entrepreneurs have really, really great ideas that we want to pursue, but oftentimes we are hesitant to launch or to step out and do that. And it can be because starting a business seems very intimidating and very scary. You don't know what steps to take. So I'm going to go through some very foundational steps today that'll help you to just get started. Today's case study is Urban Accents by Tom Nibbs and Jim Dicus. They are Chicago-bred entrepreneurs who left the corporate world and dabbled in spices in their basement. You know, they started out giving it to their friends and stuff, like a lot of entrepreneurs, like probably a lot of you on the call, doing things for your friends and family, and thought, hey, this could be an actual business. So using their corporate experience of marketing and also of, just creativity, they launched this business and they got into Crate and Barrel. And then Whole Foods, Macy's, and Safeway followed. 2 decades later, this company is worth $15 million. So see how a hobby can turn into a very lucrative small business. You just got to get started. So today we're going to start off with how you begin to be the business from step 1. And the most exciting part for most entrepreneurs starts out as naming your business, right? You think that's going to be the easiest and the funnest thing to do until you actually do it. Because first you say, I have this great idea. And then you search for your name on your desired domain. I say do this first because this is a key indicator if someone is always already using that name. And also, if you're going to have a website, you want your website to be your business name. So if you can't get that domain, you may want to consider getting a different or choosing a different name. So that'll save you a lot of heartache right up front. Is just search for the domain name. You can do that on GoDaddy. You can do that on Yahoo. You can just type in the name and it'll let you know if it's available. If it is available, the second step I would suggest you do is go to the trademark website at USPTO and search under tests. Now, you would just be doing a quick and easy search to see if your name is available. I don't suggest, as far as like the trademark goes, that you actually pursue it yourself. You may want to consult a lawyer when you're ready to actually register it. But as far as committing to a name, you can look on the USPTO website yourself under the test and do a very extensive search just to see if that name is already being used and would you have trademark or intellectual property issues if you use it. Now, if you find it on test, sorry, you have to look for another name. Go back to step 1, right? And then if it's not in test, test will even show you if there's a pending application for the name. So if it's not in there, you can create your logo, and then you can go to step 2. Now, step 2, that one is a little bit more intense. You need to choose a business structure, which many people choose based on the ease of application. But you also want to consider some other things, like what's best for your business from a financial and operational standpoint, right? A lot of people just go with sole proprietorship because it's just them. It's the easiest to form. You don't really have to register with your state. So if you use a name other than your own, you do need to register with the state to file for an assumed name. So that's the only thing you have to do. And you can check with your state website, Illinois for us, to see what is necessary for you to register that name with the state. But that's all you have to do for the state. The owner remains personally liable for suits, which is one of the things that people want to, kind of get away from when choosing their business entity, unless you have a low risk business that you don't think or foresee, a lawsuit coming. If there is a lawsuit, it can go after your personal assets, your home, your savings, your 401ks, your whatever assets you have available. So that's what you want to keep in mind if you're considering a sole proprietorship. So as far as taxes, you would count those the income on your personal tax return. So it's just that added and then the write-offs from your personal tax return standpoint too. My first business, I did a sole proprietorship just for that very reason because it was easy to do. I didn't want to get into the hairiness of trying to start any of the other entities, which now I regret. I should have done the research and the legwork because it definitely should have been under a different entity type. A partnership is the same as a sole proprietorship. It's just more than one person. An LLC. This is the one that's most frequently formed. It is considered an independent legal structure separate from you. So if this company is sued, they're not suing you, they're suing the entity, the business. It protects your personal liability. It's taxed similarly to a sole proprietorship or a partnership where it's on your personal tax returns. A thing too is it's very tricky. You want to be careful with an LLC because there are loopholes where your personal assets can become at risk during a suit, and it has a lot to do with utilizing your personal assets for the business, and it becomes a part of of a suitable offense. So you want to research that pretty good. S corps and C corps are very, very similar. They're an independent legal and tax structure separate from your own. So it's not going to go against your personal tax returns. And it separates your assets from your personal assets from being liable in a lawsuit or a business debt. Owners report their share of profit and loss in the company on their personal tax return for S corp, but the individual entity for C corp. The S corp has a limit on the number of shareholders, and they must be U.S. citizens or residents. And then you have to hold annual meetings and report, the meeting minutes. So with the C corp, there is no limit to the number of shareholders that you can have. You're taxed on your corporate profits and shareholder dividends, and then you also must hold annual meetings and record meeting minutes for that. So you can see how the taxation of the entity factors into whether or not you want to go with either sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, S corp, or C corp. It all depends on the structure of your business. It depends on the potential income for your business. It depends on the structure of your business, how many people are involved. So you want to give that some really deep, deep thought. Now, once you've decided on which entity you want to go with, you're going to register your business, right? And I would suggest that you start with intellectual property. As we just discussed your name, after you've done all that work to find the perfect name, it's available, the domain is ready. Hopefully you grabbed that while you were searching and you found out that it's not in the USPTO website. You can go ahead and grab that. It's really cheap. So even if your trademark doesn't go through, you may have lost, like, depending on the special with GoDaddy, 99 cents just, to get the domain name. So it's not a big deal. So grab that as soon as you see it's available. Um, so USPTO trademark, you want to register it with them so that you protect your name. Then you want to get your federal tax ID at irs.gov. This is what you'll be using for filing your taxes for your business entity. What a lot of people don't know that they should do as well is you need to, in the irs.gov, your tax ID is free. So if you Google a tax ID and there's a company saying, you need to pay money to get this, it is absolutely probably just a scam. You can do it yourself. It's very easy. You get it within a day or two, I believe. So you also need to register for a free Duns and Bradstreet number. I have the link to that as well. There are some scams too for that, so you want to go directly to their site. It's also free. It's also very easy to do. It is a unique number, and it's used to identify your organization. It's most often used for business credit. So if you want to develop business credit, well, you'll be able to get credit cards, loans, or anything like that. The Duns and Bradstreet number is very important. Also, the federal government uses it to track how they allocate federal money. So if you're going to apply for grants, if you are going to apply for government-run competitions, government contracts, you absolutely have to have a Duns and Bradstreet number. So you might as well go for that as well. So then you want to register with your state. If you are registering in a sole proprietorship, there is really no mandatory filing for sole proprietorships other than the assumed name. But if you form any of the other entities, that's where you're going to register it at, is with your state. Now, there are some caveats with that too. So if you're thinking about tax implications, you don't have to really register your business in the state that you live in. It's widely known that Delaware and Nevada are the most relaxed taxable business income in the 50 United States, right? So a lot of people will file their business with the Las Vegas, with Nevada or with Delaware. In those cases, you do have to have a registered authority who will receive your mail or receive any information. You can get those fairly cheaply, but the tax savings by registering in another state can be huge depending on how much money your entity makes. Otherwise, if you want to just register with your own state, you just go to your website, your state website. You are usually considered to be doing business in a state if you have a physical presence in that state. You often have in-person meetings with clients in that state. A significant portion of your company's revenue comes from that state, or if you have employees that work in that state. Sometimes states allow you to register online. Sometimes they make you file paper documents, so it really depends on what state you are in. So you can go to your state website and find that out. So yes, I think that's pretty much it on state registration. And in some cases, you have to register as low as the county and the municipal entities. So you might want to check your county to see what their requirements are, as well as the city. Okay, so intellectual property. Oh, wow, I think I'm over, but I'm going to continue. If you can stay with me, stay with me. This is the first time that I went over, but this is a lot of information that I think you'll find useful. Lastly, I'm going to talk about intellectual property. Now, there's a difference between trademark, patents, and copyright. So what I told you earlier, you want to go for it is the trademark of your name, trademark in your logo. So a trademark is not like a patent. It protects words, phrases, symbols, sounds, smells, or color schemes. Trademarks are often considered assets that describe or otherwise identify the source of underlying products or services that a company provides. Think Nike, think Coca-Cola. So that those individual intellectual properties are considered assets for those companies. It's relatively cheap to register. They're $225 to $325 for the filing fee. Now, if you use an attorney, which is highly recommended, but not necessary, you can go to the website, they give you instructions on how to file. But if you file it incorrectly, you lose your money and then you have to refile. So it's suggested, but not necessarily something you have to do. But the filing fee is $225, 320 to 325. A patent will protect your inventive idea or process. So think of something that's new or useful and non-obvious. Patents are what most often come to mind when you're thinking of intellectual property. Patents are also used to protect newly engineered plant species or strains as well. And a copyright. So you want to do a copyright to protect authorship. So it's more about written work, art, music, architectural drawings, or even programming code for software. Certain exceptions to copyright allow the owner to protect materials in the way it's reproduced, performed, or new versions or adaptations, public performances, and distributions of the works. So think about Facebook when they mute out your music. The artist has copyrights on that music, so they don't want to infringe on that copyright. The next step you're going to do is fund your business. You're going to get a checking account. You can apply for a business credit card once you have your Duns and Bradstreet number and your tax ID number. I've heard that companies like Uline are really easy to get business credit. Capital One is another company that will give business credit fairly easily with you just starting out and not having a credit history. You'll use it to get loans, investments, and grants. And then hire professionals. So I would suggest you hire a professional, at least at the beginning, an accountant that sets your books up so you know how to record your expenses, your income, and you have a system for doing so, especially if you're new to business. This is a very important step. An attorney to help you with your intellectual property or any other legal aspects of your business, and a marketing professional, again, especially if you're new to your business, you may want to consult with someone who's a marketing professional to help you grow your business. So that is it on our starting the startup foundational steps session today. It was full of information. I went really, really fast. Again, this is another session that I could have broken out into like 3 or 4 different sections, but I hope you got some useful information. And for today's homework, I would like you guys to go to the USPTO website and search your business name. Just do that step today. Play around in the site. Did you find that your name was already being used? Share that with us on Facebook or Instagram if you so choose. And you don't have to give us your name because you want to keep it under wraps until you've secured that intellectual property. But you can tell us, was it found? How many times did you have to go back and search for a new name? My recent business, Deeds Be Done. Oh my goodness, you would think all the names that I came up with I thought were so great. Probably went through 25 names until I got to one that was not being used. So it's definitely a worthwhile step to go through to secure your intellectual property and make sure you don't have any issues later down the line. And on that note, I am going to give you guys back your time. Sorry I went over, but I hope it was useful, and have a great day.